Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us again. I'm starting to lose track of what number we're on. I think this is our sixth
Yes.
Conscious Coaches Power Hour, and we've got 12 planned this year. So we've reached our halfway mark, which is really, really exciting. We will continue into the first week of December. And yeah, most of you, I think, are familiar with us, but for anyone who's watching that is not, we are a collective community space, and we are a collection of coaches or sages, is what we like to call ourselves, who consciously offer our gifts and talents to the world for people that we call seekers, those that are on a path of learning, sharing, self-exploration, growth, and evolution. And we love to do this in community, whether it's meeting each other in community and then working individually and one-on-one. But yeah, harnessing the power of connection and conversation and shared experiences as we do this whole human thing and figure out this whole human thing together. Welcome to those that are joining. Hey, Lindsay. Hey, Tash. So rad to have you here. So we are part of the larger solo community, Search Others, Love Oneself, created by our delicious friend, Simone Fourie. It's always so nice to have you here. And yeah, it's an honor to be friends and colleagues with such beautiful souls. I think for me, that's the one thing I love about community. You start off, you meet people, you connect, and then everything kind of integrates and you find you're working on different projects and different things together and just really channeling each individual thing that we can do into things that become so much bigger and greater than us and have even more impact. And it's so much fun. I think for me, that's one of the best things. Coming out of, organizations and corporates where you don't necessarily get to choose your colleagues, like now you get to choose your colleagues and they're amazing. And every conversation is just so rich and filled with like these beautiful ideas and so much heart and so much soul. So really, yeah, it's a privilege to go, this is not work, this is play, but in such an intentional and purposeful way. So today, myself and Simone, aka Gabby, we're gonna talk and explore this topic of what we're calling the Rose Awakens, embracing feminine connection and sisterhood, so that we can bloom together. And it's so lovely to have some masculine energy in the room as well, because this is a conversation that we can all explore and contribute to together. And yeah, there's spaces where we'll have conversations on our own, but today's definitely one of those. We love that you're here. And as we progress, we're going to invite you to share thoughts, share questions, engage with us so that we make the circle bigger, which is ultimately our deepest desire. So hello, my delicious sister, Gabby Simone.
Hello, darling. Oh, my heart is excited. My heart is in that playful space you just spoke about. It is really just so amazing to be able to sit here and going to have a conversation with one of the most amazing people that I know and talking about things that are really close to my heart and that I'm passionate about and that gets me excited. I think we in an evolutionary space that is exciting. Everything is exciting right now in the world, and it's time for us to wake up.
I love that you use the word exciting, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. And to some degree, I'm sometimes a little bit naive about all of that stuff because it's a little bit overwhelming to keep track of everything that's happening. But at the same time as the big stuff and the scary stuff and the fearful stuff, there's a lot that's emerging and wanting to be explored, and it does feel so exciting. And where we wanted to start our conversation today was around this topic of desire And for me, it's such a juicy word. And I love words. I love playing with words. I love exploring words, because words are everything, right? They're like massive triggers, and
Yes,
they can create huge emotions in us. And yet, it's words that create worlds, our
yeah,
experiences of life. We speak our reality. So,
yes.
yeah, like, what do you think of when you think of the word desire? And if anyone else wants to type in the chat, what do you think of? Like, what does desire mean to you?
When I think about desire, it's multi-layered. It's not one particular thing, because it resonates in different parts of me, different parts of my all my bodies. So when I think of desire, it's not just the physical erosy kind of desire, but it is also, what do I desire to eat? Where do I desire to go? Who do I desire to share my energy with? Um, it's simple things where you find this beautiful energy, that just can flow through you. And so after a while, once you start practicing that, everything becomes desirable or desirous. you
Yeah.
know you look at a crystal and it's desire, and I don't know,
Mm.
it is, and then of course there is that desire, the picture, and that is also a
Yes,
very strong desire. And
it's a
to
very strong.
allow all of the different desires to course through you without any judgment, without any shame,
Mm.
without any, yeah, just allow it and see what happens.
Mm.
That's the other thing. Why not see what happens?
Yeah, to be curious. And like that's a question I have, or it's a question I've had to navigate. Like, do I give myself permission to desire? That's been a massive topic in my world where there's a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things to do, to be done, things to take account of. And is there time for desire? How does that fit into my world? Do I need to achieve a certain amount before I'm allowed to go, well, what do I actually desire? And
Almost as if you're deserving. Do I deserve this
yes,
desire? Of
yes.
course you do, always.
Yeah, like, do I deserve to desire to be hungry actually and take time to sit down and consciously choose what I want to fill my body with and desire the moment in the way that I want to experience it whilst I'm eating? Something as simple and mundane as that. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and I've got some comments here. Desire wakes something up in me, makes me feel curious. Lindsay, desire has been such a big theme for me. Yeah, it's a huge theme. It's broad. I mean, as Gabby was saying, it's so much in it. What the soul hungers for. That's deep. Calling in a
Yes,
need and a fire into my life. Um, Learning how we've been taught that many of our desires are shameful, when in fact they're a gift and an embodiment of the divine. Ooh, yes, yes. Are we allowed to desire if being desired is shameful? Ooh, wow, we could take this conversation in 1,000 different threads.
absolutely. Yes.
Knowing the two of us and all these different prompts.
This,
Yeah, and
yes.
I felt
And we
so
only have an
important.
hour.
We only have an hour.
um,
Um, yeah.
so just Tash Kraus, your question, are we allowed to desire if being desired is shameful? If we look at shame, it is something that is imprinted into us, because when you were born, you had no shame. You came into the world, little baby, you didn't know anything. And as we all grow up, we get taught this is okay, that's not okay. This is how you're supposed to do it, that's not how you're supposed to do it. And we're not allowed to question and come with something new. Otherwise, we are pressed down with things like shame or guilt and other, I don't want to call the feelings negative because that's a completely different conversation, but other feelings that doesn't sit well in the body. And so desire is such a natural feeling. It is something that you can see desire in a sunrise, where your entire body just goes, wow, I live in this beautiful planet with this beautiful experience. and allow that beauty to just course through your entire body. And then that's okay. And it lands whatever way it lands, whether it becomes erotic, whether it becomes heart opening, whether it becomes a tingle. Allow that beautiful feeling to wash over you. Whereas we are taught, no, you're not supposed to feel that good. It's really dangerous to feel that good. I mean, it's supposed to feel shameful, remorseful, that your body responds this way to things. And it is important that we start shifting that. It's okay, we were born like this, to feel this feeling.
It's like, what's the gift in it? And I'm like reading what Kiara is saying here, like there's a yearning of the soul for a life experience or directional tweak or realignment, or just something fun and enriching. And then I think of like children, you know, as you say, babies are born and they don't have the hindrances or the holding back or the control. So I'm hungry, I desire food, or I desire closeness or love or belonging, therefore I cry for it. And children that desire to look at this thing, let's stop and look at the bug on the sidewalk, or pick the flower, or I want to run around and just get all this energy out. We make desire mean so much, and mean that we have to be constantly in control of that, because if we let go of it, and you brought up the word danger, like something bad is going to happen. And what if it's actually a signal from inside of us that something's good for us, or something could lead from this that could be nourishing, enriching, fun, and the next step towards, you know, whatever.
It's exactly what you just said. Sorry, that's exactly
Yeah.
what you just said. Is when you are that little kid and you want to go and explore the bag, or you want to go and smell the flower, or pick the flower, or do something. Normally, you are with an older person who is telling you not to do that. Don't explore that. We don't have time to look at the flower. Come on, leave the bug alone. And so this desire to be curious gets squashed, not once, not twice, but with a myriad of situations. And before we know it, we see the flower, we don't even see the flower anymore. We walk right past it. We step on the bug. The bug isn't, because I can't stop to see you anyway. So like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we are adults and we feel all kinds of desires, and we step on those too, because that's what we know. That's what we were taught, but that's not our nature. Our nature is to stop and smell the roses. Our nature is to be curious.
It is. And I think in my life's journey, I went to the extreme of just not desiring, just stopping all of that connection to that feeling, where it was like, okay, I'm responsible, I'm accountable. These are the things I need to do. There's no time for desire. So I might want, or, you know, feel pulled towards something, but I'm not going to do that thing because it doesn't fit the box of what's required of me. And then the challenge came of, well, how do I even know what I desire? Like, what do I desire? Now you're asking me that question, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's been a whole journey of learning to, you know, through various things. And we've spoken about tools, and we've got some goodies and tools we put together that we'll share with you after the webinar, around like, how do we even start that journey of tapping back into ourselves and exploring what we desire? You know, and questions is one way, just getting curious and asking ourselves questions, allowing ourselves space to daydream, to vision, and getting in touch with our bodies. And I think my greatest gift has been coming back to my body and going like, ooh, like, how does that feel and where? What is that sensation telling me? It's
Yes.
not easy.
No,
And
well, I think the more we do it, the easier it becomes.
yes.
The more you start asking yourself quality questions, and you start seeing how those quality questions starts affecting your life, because it changes your perspective, right? You start to think, why do I believe this about myself? Why do I believe that I can't do this? I see somebody else is doing it. I believe that I cannot do it. Why do I believe that?
Yes.
And actually trying to find the answer or the feeling. It's not always cognitive. a lot of the answers sits in the chest, it sits in the heart, it sits in that, it sits in that moment where you become quiet and you just realize, oh, it's because I think I'm not worthy of being in this space, for example. I would say that would be in my case. And then, okay, so where does this feeling of not worthy come from? Because, girl, you're awesome. And then you go all the way back to some experience. Normally for me, it's in my childhood where I felt that I was not part of something that I felt I should have been part with and that I wasn't wanted there. And so when we start peeling these layers back and we start seeing, oh, that's who I am under all of this, then you start knowing, what do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want to look like? Like, is the way that you're expressing yourself right now your authentic expression? Or are you conforming to a part of yourself, but also what's going to fit into society, for example?
Yeah. And that's beautifully segues into that next question, which is like, who am I? And that's been a huge question I've been exploring. Am I these roles, these lists of responsibilities, these to-do lists and things? Or am I something else or combination? And how do I show up in all these spaces? Am I showing up differently according to how I think I need to be versus actually how I desire to be? And there's been this like, I'm peeling back the layers and shedding all the masks and exploring like, what do I desire? Who am I? And for me, the ultimate question, like, who do I desire to be? And what do I need to then show up in those spaces?
Yeah. So this question in particular, who am I, is why I have two names. You know, I have Simone, which is my birth name. Then I have Gabby, which is a part of me that I am excavating. So I feel that Simone comes with the programming of her upbringing, her experiences, and she's amazing. So I'm not going to knock the side of me because I love the qualities that is there, but there's also a lot of baggage in Simone's pot. Whereas Gabby is all the parts of me that I absolutely adore. And there's no judgment. That includes some shadows, you know, that I've come to look at and go like, hey, you're not so bad. I actually like that about me. And Gabby doesn't have half the hang-ups that Simone has. And it is an excavation of, who am I? How do I show up? What is it that I want? How am I going to do that? What is authenticity for me? So all these things started bubbling up, and I couldn't separate it by being just myself with just Simone. And so all the little nuggets that I found in my programming or in myself that I loved, I pushed it into Gabby. And all the things that I think this doesn't serve me anymore, Simone is working through them, you know, so that I can release it because it's not part of Gabby's world. And I'm spending more time being Gabby and less time being Simone because, yeah, I'm finding everything that I love about myself in this side, and eventually they'll merge. And I don't know what my name will be then. Watch this space.
I was going to say, for me, the most beautiful journey in our friendship of sisterhood and the circle of women that we've got around us and created has been, I met you as Gabby, and then at a point in time, you came to me and you're like, I want to tell you something. Like, my name is actually Simone. And I got introduced to your birth name. And then how that landed for me was, I'm like, well, you're Gabby Simone because you're both, you're all, you know, you're this whole person that I know, all sides of you. And it was such a beautiful experience to first of all be trusted and invited into, you know, outside of the digital world that we met in and where we engaged into your real world and your real life and to meet you there. And it's, you know, maybe also a beautiful example of how tricky it is and can be navigating like female friendships. And like, how much can I show you? Can I trust you with all of me? How far can this go? And that journey of connecting and building the trust and getting to know each other, and then knowing, oh, I can show you a little bit more and a little bit more, and I'm safe with you. You're not going to judge me. You're not going to shame me. You're not going to be like, what? I didn't go, oh, you've lied to me. How dare you? It was just like, Oh, that's really cool. Okay, awesome. I'm going to call you this from now on. Does that fly? Um,
Yes.
and that's something that's become so dear to my heart, is how can we create more of this space where we as women can hear each other without judgment, without shame, and be like, cool, babes, that's really interesting. How's that working for you? And how can I support you through this?
Yeah.
Um,
I recently read something where this person says when we meet as human beings, we have these, we know all about the energy that we have around our bodies, right? But imagine
yes.
with that energy, there's like these antennas that goes out, and we kind of feel each other out. But what we're looking for more often than not is ways that we are different to one another. So, for
Yes.
example, like, are you going to hurt me? Are you going to lie to me? Are you going to use me? Are you going to, all these things? So we're constantly trying to protect ourselves. And what we are trying to create with the Sisterhood of the Rose is a space where those tentacles are tentacles of what kind of kindness, like looking for the love in that person. So for
Yeah.
example, even if somebody behaves poorly or does something that really is like, okay, dude, that, or let's say the person lies, um, to not go, you lied, you're a bad person, but you lied. What made you feel so uncomfortable that you were unable to be authentic? How can we move in a way that we can kind of heal that part of you so that you don't have to go through life healing, lying? So it is about creating this safe space of, I see you, and we all have wounds, and sometimes we all behave a little bit gnarly. And in that, we will recognize you as love and light, and we all make mistakes. It's okay. How are we going to make
Mm,
sure this doesn't happen again, and that we don't hold it against you? And I
mm,
think that's it's harsh. We are so hard with one another. We are
yeah.
all the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love this idea of like, if we could choose, because we start off and we don't necessarily have choice because there's all this stuff that's in the way. But like in these spaces and with each other, if we could choose, like, who do we desire to be with each other when relating? How do we want to show up? And if anyone's got any thoughts or insights on how that's landing for you, feel free to share. Um, because it is a choice, but we don't often sit and think about it. Think
Mm.
about who we want to be. Because we've already touched on this, what gets in our way. And I love that word gnarly that you used. It's all the gnarly stuff,
All the
the
gnarly
shame,
stuff.
the judgment, the competition, guilt.
Oh.
So much of this external stuff, really, but it's internal too. We're not always aware of it. But the more we can become aware of it, the more choice we start to have about, do I want to continue to let this get in the way? And if I could choose, what would I choose?
Yeah. Yes. Linda, who do you want to be? How do you want to show up? Want to show up as authentic, being my true self, being true to myself. I love that. And I think at the heart of it, we all want to be authentic. And they always say, be yourself or find yourself, but nobody really shows you how. Like somebody told me, I was like, oh, you just have to be yourself. You just have to find yourself. And I'm like, okay, so I'm the youngest daughter of a minister. Like I have no idea who I am. I
Yeah.
don't know who I am. Are you nuts? Like, no. So I'm just this until we figure it out. And it's that figuring out that has gone from scary to fascinating to
Mm.
so interesting, and being
Mm.
held in this space with women who walk my journey with me and hold me accountable,
Yeah.
holding
And
me
maybe today I
accountable.
want to,
Yeah.
yeah, and embrace, like, today I'm going to try this out. I think this might be who I am. And then tomorrow, like, no, that doesn't feel so good. And having people, yeah, support and embrace that. Like, okay, cool, well done for trying and experiencing that. And, if yesterday you wanted to dress in this way and today you're dressing in that way, it's not going to change how I relate to you, how much I love you, how much I support you. It's not that to be part of our little circle or crew, you have to be in a certain way, which takes me back to high school, right? And all those high school movies where, you know, there's a clique, everyone dresses the same and everyone talks the same. And there's almost like a membership fee you've got to pay to be part of that group, and to feel like you belong to something. Yet actually the biggest gift we can give each other is to find the values that connect us, the heart that connects us, and allow and embrace and invite and encourage everyone to be and dress and express yourself and who you are. Yeah, it's wild.
And that's part
Absolutely
of that's
wild.
like that is the fun of it, right?
And fun. It doesn't mean that there isn't pain and challenge and hard moments of, oh my gosh, like what actually do I desire? And is it this and is it that? And where do I start? And I feel overwhelmed. But creating spaces where we're not just gossiping and talking about, I mean, I love talking about the weather because I find weather in South Africa and Cape Town fascinating. But from like a, you know, experiential, what does it mean? How am I going to express myself today? And, you know, am I talking about the delicious, juicy sun I want to go get on my skin and my body? But like having real meaningful conversations that are supportive, that aren't bad naming or bad mouthing other people, that aren't tearing each other down because, oh gosh, look, you've got this thing that I want it too, or you're further down the road than me. Um, I mean, I don't
It's
know for
that.
those in the room what experiences you've had in your female friendships. You want to share anything? Mine, I've got a shocking history of.
I was going to say, me too. I used to be like the girl at school. I would be the girl who is friends with the boys. Like I was a tomboy, and I used to also hang out in my masculinity like most of the time because, you know, if you can't be a girl. I mean, unless you're like a Barbie kind of girl. That's at least how
It
I
was
was
safe.
raised.
It was safe with the boys. I did the
And they were more
same.
fun. They were also more fun. Like, you know, the girls were talking about boys all the time and all of that, and the boys were just like hanging and
Yeah.
and just having the safe space where they're making fun of one another and things like that. And but we were not taught that. We were not taught, or a lot of us were not taught that we don't have to be in competition. In fact, when
Mm.
2 or 3 or 4 of us band together on the right energy, we are bloody powerful. And so I understand the division of women and this thing that was plonked in the middle of the sisterhoods of old. I'm talking about old culture now. We are very strong and powerful when we band together, and that we were separated, but the time has now come to come back together. Let us
Yeah.
just let's just have fun again. You know, I want to
Yes.
dance in forests barefoot under full moons, not because I'm a witch, but because it's like so nice. Like,
So
why
much
not?
fun. Go
Yes,
skinny dip in the summer and like stay naked in the sun, and you know, even just get in touch with aspects of our femininity that have been lost. You know, like, does anyone know how to sew something? Or
oh
like,
yeah, I don't.
you
Sorry.
know, or like
I sew
someone invited,
stuffies every day.
yeah, there we go. Someone invited me to forage for mushrooms the other day, and I was like, oh, you know, like I don't know what's safe and what's not safe. Like there's so much wisdom as well that we've lost along the way, and
Yes,
so much we can learn and share from each other. I mean, that's also why we've been doing this Conscious Coaches Power Hour. Is look at all these amazing things that these human beings can do, and it's the same with us. We can create these circles of women where it's like, you know something I don't know, or you have experiences or contacts, and you know, how can we leverage and share, make the
yes.
circle bigger?
And it's also, as you say, about the wisdom. It is, you know, I'm invited to a baby shower, so it's kind of, so I didn't like my 2 baby showers because it is not, it never resonated with me like what is done. And I'm invited to this baby shower, and I think, okay, I'm going to go because I'm new and I need to make friends on this side too. And then I realized, wait, it's a baby shower. People are eating baby food and they're sticking flour in their faces. I mean, that's the culture right here. Like you have to find jelly tots in the flour, right, with your face, and it's fun. It's a game. And I realized I would much prefer to be at a baby shower where we are really honoring this life that is coming into this world, and where we get excited about baby kicking and sharing stories and remembering when we were giving birth and remembering our wisdoms and just being so open and flowing. And that's a baby shower. you know
Yeah,
at
yeah,
least for me it is.
it's yeah, the difference of feeling nourished, and like you're contributing to something. Like I was invited to one earlier this year, which was everything you spoke of. And we had a circle, we sang songs, we brought poems, we made flower crowns,
I
we met
see.
on a rock in Llandudno, and we did a baby blessing, and we even did yoga and hypnosis. I mean, every woman contributed something
Beautiful.
to the experience. And what stood out for me at the end was we're the village now for this mother. And I remember coming home and reflecting and then replying to the WhatsApp group and going, like, here's your village. Like, we're with you through the pregnancy now. But when you've got a screamy baby and it's the middle of the night and you're going fucking insane, here's your village. Reach out. Maybe one of us is
Yeah.
awake or can come through or can get on the phone, because we've lost that village. And I remember being so alone in both of my pregnancies and those early days. I mean, my second one was in lockdown and COVID, whole other story, but not feeling like I had women around me that I could reach out to and just express this is what's going on for me, or hey, here's something really new. How did you experience this thing?
Yes.
Um,
And just
so
accepting you for where you are, because we all
yeah.
bounce back differently and in different ways. And it's now terrible if you have anything that's got to do with almost with being feminine. If you have your period, then that's a thing, because now you're bitchy. No, I'm actually not bitchy. I'm just a lot more sensitive. So can you respect that about me right now? I
Yeah.
mean, why is it a thing? Whereas it's okay to be when you're a woman in your masculine energy and you're standing there with your stilettos and your power suits and you're saying something important. That's okay. But it's
Mm.
not okay to be, and we have to change that, and it starts with you and with me and with all
Yes.
the other women, of embracing who we find inside of ourselves and then expressing it authentically on the outside. And how we
Yeah.
can do that is by creating these containers of sisterhoods.
Exactly. And integrating these parts. Like, how can I be the woman in stilettos and heels in the moments where that's what I desire to be? And then how can I rest, in a more
Yes.
soft space in those other moments when that's where my
Yes.
desires are leading me? So I'm with you. That for us is what sisterhood has been in our now later years experiences with each other. And a change that we're wanting to lead through creating Sisterhood of the Rose, and inviting other women into the space. You know, I'm imagining a world where we as women are cheering each other on and holding each other accountable to following our desires and being who we desire to be. And I have to say, it's been the most beautiful thing, to have the women in my circle at the moment where I'm like, my desire is taking me this way. And sometimes they're like, babes, I'm not so sure about that. Remember what happened last time? And I'm like, I know, I got this. And they're like, well, we got you, however this ends up. Like, we got you, we're here every step of the way.
Yeah.
Um, but having that beautiful mirror and that safe space to be able to like go out and explore and come back and be like, oh, it didn't work again. Or like, oh, wait, it's different this time. And then even process why. How have I changed? How do I keep that going?
Yeah, and I think we if we start looking at life from the perspective of it's all lessons, everything you experience is a lesson. If you look at it like a course or university, if you feel you need to go on that same course for the 10th time, then that's what you need to do to embed the knowledge, right? And so then go and do the course. I got you. You know, that is the space that we have. And what I love about it is also the accountability check-ins. Those are like, ooh, you know, because sometimes they are like all sunshine and flowers and light, and sometimes it's a little bit, you know, tail between the legs. So kind of, I know I said I wouldn't, but I actually did. And everybody just kind of jumps in, and it's just with love. It's never I told you so. It's never you know, feeling bad. It's okay, so you guys were right, or yeah, you see, I told you it's different this time. And then when the lesson is embedded, then it's embedded, and we can move on to the next lesson. And that's what our journeys are about, isn't it? On this planet, is to learn lessons.
Like elevated, support each other as we are
follow our desires, as we follow
our desires.
Yeah,
exactly. So we are experiencing this magic of sisterhood. And yeah, as a result of identified, like our deepest desire is to share this, to expand the circle, make the circle bigger. So we started this movement in this community called Sisterhood of the Rose. And we're envisioning it as a space to reconnect to ourselves individually, to each other, to like remember our feminine essence and desires, like identify them, feel them, and create a space to bloom. I love this visual and this idea of blooming together. And we have a vision for brotherhood too. We're in conversations with our brothers because we do believe they need their own space to explore and connect as well. And then there can be overlaps where we meet each other and we share from a space of wholeness and a space of love. So you can find us on Instagram and Facebook, and we've got lots of exciting things planned. Gabby, do you want to share about our first happy fair or happy fairy, however we want to pronounce it?
Happy fair. I'm going to go with happy fair because of how it's spelled. But we are out at the Happy Fairy having a workshop for Sisterhood of the Rose, where we will continue conversations similar to what we've just had. It is on the 1st to the 3rd of November, just outside of Swellendam. So it's an entire festival, and there's fire breathers and markets, and then there is just this amazing space in the middle of the woods that we found, where we will all gather together and just be part of the earth, part of nature, away from the biggest group of people, where we will immerse ourselves into the space of connecting and being just a little bit vulnerable with one another, sharing our stories, sharing our experiences, and creating a community where somebody responds. There's always somebody there. There's somebody who will have your back, who's got you. Yeah,
then from next year we're going to start retreats in McGregor. We're coming to you. I'm so excited about that. More road trips in my future in the beautiful mountains and the fresh air. And yeah, we've got a podcast we've started on YouTube, and really want to just keep talking. There's so much to talk about and so much to explore. So we'd love for you to connect with us. Love to hear your experiences and invite you into our spaces so we can grow and share what we're experiencing with more.
And sorry, just to add, we will also have a Telegram group going very, very soon. Like in the next couple of days, we will have a Telegram group. We chose Telegram because Mary and I are so expressive, and those emojis are everything.
Stickers on Telegram are
stickers are, yes. So we'll be sharing that with you shortly as well.
Yeah. So because for me, that's been the biggest support as well, is having not just here's an event, what happens in between, but having a space where I can bring my stuff and be like, oh, this thing happened today, and this is what I'm experiencing and thinking and feeling, and in the moment be able to process and work through things and share the big wins and successes and celebrate as well. Feel that connection as it happens. So we will send out a mailer and we'll share more on social so that you can find that. And we will put this recording. We've got our YouTube channel up. I've got the link now in these slides. So all the previous 5 are up, and then this one will go up as well. And you're welcome to go and explore the other topics. I'll share in a bit about what's coming in 2 weeks. And if you want to reach out to us individually too, when we know a lot of you, and for those that we don't, we would love to meet you and hear your thoughts and connect further. In 2 weeks' time, we've got another sage who's going to be presenting on the topic of unlocking your inner power and mastering the inner game. Svenja Krauer, she's an NLP coach. So that is going to be really, really worthwhile coming and exploring. NLP is a very powerful modality, and I know she's got a whole lot of tools and things that she's going to be sharing with us that we can take away and use immediately after that session. So same time, same place, 12 o'clock on Zoom, 2 weeks from now. That is the 25th of September. The links are on the screen. We've tried to keep it really easy. bit.ly, CC Power Hour, and then the next number. So the next one is 7. That will also, those details will be on social media, and we will send an email. And then the solo community. If you aren't part of solo, come explore, come join us with another incredible community. And there is the online portal where you can go and you can search for sages. If you are a seeker or if you are a sage yourself, you can join and you can offer up what you do in the world. There are individual coaches and practitioners as well as events on there in every topic you can imagine, around spirituality, self-development, plant medicine. I mean, there's a whole lot. And then there's WhatsApp groups too. Beautiful community chat groups, and then event groups where you can keep track of what's coming up. I know I often struggle to know what's happening, but I go to the solo event groups and I'm like, okay, I feel like going out on Friday. What is there to do? Or I feel like a conscious dance, where's it happening? And all of that is there. So those links are also there. We'll also put them in a mailer so you have access to that. Anyone want to share any thoughts or anything that's opened up, or questions, or a story? We do have time. Thank you, Francois. Yeah, and thank you to the brothers in the room. It's lovely to have you here and feel your support for this. Like, I know sometimes it can feel divisive, women wanting to have their own space. However, that's not our desire. Our desire really is to connect and to grow and to fill ourselves to come back and connect in the middle with our brothers, with our men, with our partners.
That's exactly it. Like how I envision the Sisterhood of Rose after a little while is us healed, healthy, divine, feminine, free, nurturing women, and just a group of us. And then there are this masculine energy that is strong and that makes us feel safe so that we can slip into our abilities and our true natures and who we are. And all sides need to heal. You know, we've all gone through so much over the generations. Those boys who were taught that boys don't cry, there's a lot of healing there. And we need to create these pockets and these circles where we become safe so that we can heal. I think generations past, we could swallow it. We could swallow boys don't cry. And now we can't anymore. We are waking up, our spirits are rising, and we don't understand why we relate to one another in this way. But as I said earlier, the men are from, what was it? Women are from Venus and men are from Mars.
Men are from Mars, I think is the theory.
Yes.
Jan,
so it's that language barrier.
That's so, yeah. Shifting the language we use.
Yes, just so that we find that common language that we used to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just that's a little thing I was typing now. So
Yeah.
there must be sisterhood for women, there must be brotherhood for guys, and there must be mixed circle when we come together. We cannot heal separately.
Yes.
We have to be together to heal. Women together talking about how evil the masculine is, and guys together talking about how evil the feminine is. That's never
We're
going
done
to
with
heal.
that.
It's not going to sort out the problem.
No.
Only problem is by coming together. So do your healing on the sisterhood, that the brotherhood do the healing on the brotherhood, and then come together to do common healing. That's the only way we're going to sort it out. It's by healing together,
Absolutely.
not separate.
Yes.
Yeah, that is our
Yes.
desire.
Yes, that's exactly as you say. Yeah, and I just think also at the moment we are also in our own little churny spaces. We need to calm down. We need to settle. We need to trust. We need to open up. And then once we start doing that, we can open up to one another. You know, we can open up. We can start trusting the feminine. The masculine can trust the feminine, because sometimes we don't realize how sharp we are. We can be sharp, we can cut, and on the other side sometimes we feel so vulnerable and exposed. So there's so many things that needs to happen for us to start trusting, and I think the circles will help. And once we come together, we can't get there individually. We can't get there as men and as women. At some point we will merge and it will become this beautiful flame that just, yeah, sorry, I'm getting I'm getting lost in my creativity. Getting lost in my desire.
I'm getting lost in your desire too, because there's so much ahead of us.
I've
And
got
such
that
beautiful...
effect on people, sorry.
Thank you for bringing it. Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining us. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep exploring. And we'll see you hopefully in 2 weeks. Otherwise, we'll also see you in our circles and spaces.
Thank you, everybody.
Have an amazing afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.